materialize. So what does this mean? If you're driving through a neighborhood, you see a ball coming out, slow down. If you're driving to your high school, there are people who don't care. They're going to walk in front of you. Okay. If you're driving through a heavy downtown area, there are pedestrians who are going to run across the street to catch a bus, to go to a restaurant. You as a driver, all of us as drivers need to know about this, and you need to have a method of covering your brakes, slowing down, and that's really important that all of you prepare and you get in what you put into this class. If you are sleepy and goofing off, you'll be removed. If you're serious, you'll have good questions. So that's what I'm hoping all of you will have. The PDA method is one of the primary tools used by proactive drivers to avoid potential hazards. It allows them to get the big picture in the neighborhood, kids, the big picture at school, young drivers speeding out of the parking lot, cutting through the parking lot, pedestrians running out in front of cars thinking the driver will stop. You in the downtown area trying to find a theater or a restaurant or a sporting event, and you're so overwhelmed you blow a light. So you want a method, and that's what this class is about, giving you a method, giving you knowledge. You want to avoid risk. Risk is a chance of death, injury, damage, or loss of life. Unfortunately, in your age group, you're under 24, your age group dies first. And mainly it's because of automotive accidents. So I'm trying to help prevent that. I'm trying to give you methods. And when you drive with me, I need you to drive with knowledge and trust. I need to trust you. You need to trust me. Your parents are trusting the driving company. They're trusting me. And I always talk to the parent and I tell them how you did, what you need to improve. And that's just who I am. So avoid risk. One of the most difficult tasks for new drivers is due to their experience. You might be in danger, but you don't know it. Example, running a yellow light. You can get a ticket. You can fail your test. You can hit a car. You can hit a pedestrian. You just see a yellow light, but the bigger picture is you're going through a yellow light, and that means caution. Number two, proactive drivers always give other road users more space. Pedestrians, people at signs before you, maybe a pedestrian who's kind of on the sidewalk, but kind of on the side of the road. You want to maybe change a lane. This is the mindset that I need you to have. And if you want to be good drivers, it's a mindset. If you want to be average, but I'm not average, and hopefully you are not, you'll just take this as a blow-off class. You'll think, hey, I want to drive the minimum. But it's almost 2026. We don't want to drive the minimum. Hey, how are you doing, D? So I want you to be better than the minimum. How are you doing? All right, let's keep going. A proactive driver will also adjust their visual search. You've got to look left, middle, right. And a lot of you in that first and second drive, you're not checking mirrors. You come up to a corner and you've got to check. It's really important that you understand what's going on and that you prepare yourself for a possible emergency situation. You prepare yourself for an emergency, a breakdown, a light not working. You always have to be aware, and I think a lot of beginning drivers are just holding the steering wheel going straight. I really need you to see the big picture. The rule in highway driving environments, the driver visually search patterns, a steady focus. You need to look to the left, you need to look straight, you need to look to the right. You've got to check your mirrors. I'm doing great, how are you? Defensive drivers eliminate or try to greatly reduce any potential hazards. Okay, and when you do potential hazards such as friends talking too much, the phone ringing, you being hungry, you being tired, that all impacts your driving. We all know about cell phones. Many of you put your cell phone under your leg. Some of you are still not doing my request. Put your cell phone up. If you're on the cell phone in the back and you're supposed to be watching, I'm going to call you out because I want to set good standards. This is one thing the company's trying to do. Don't bring your cell phones. Put your cell phones up. We always need one for emergencies, right? But if you're on your cell phone in the back, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'll let your parents know. But bro, hey guys, this is an adult responsibility. Driving does not make you an adult, okay? It is one of the things you need. Getting gas, getting an oil change, taking care of your car so in the wintertime you don't break down. talking to your parents and saying, listen, mom, dad, the car's going to need some repairs. I don't have a job yet. Can we work a deal where you pay for half, I get a job, and then, so you got to have that conversation with the mom and dad. Number 4, defensive drivers also eliminate or try to greatly reduce hazard cell phone. Passengers can be very distracting. Most of you are paying attention. I always watch you to make sure you're learning. And I try to switch every half an hour so you guys get good time and you really want to be aware of what's going on. Put in some questions I just talked about. I don't need any of you to fall asleep. Again, put in some questions on what I just talked about. I went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. We want to be a defensive driver. We want to be proactive. Driving is not for kids. Driving does not make you an adult. And like I said, we can look at statistics. You want to reduce distractions. Your age group loves social media. You can't function without your phone. There was a life without phones. It's peaceful, it's quiet, and it's okay to disconnect sometimes. You will be okay. So drivers are distracted by the new systems, the dashboards, okay? So let's put in some important information. All right, let's look. To be above standard while driving. Have good speed control. Keep space. I want to see your eyes moving. If I want you to be good drivers, I'm going to tell you. And then those who want to get better will. Those who are struggling, I'll tell you what you need to do to get better. Okay? Always being tired. If you're tired, you're at risk because you could fall asleep. There are micro sleep episodes. Thank you, Ben. The expressway is easier than main roads. Why? There are no intersections. Traffic is moving one way. There are little to no pedestrians. Someone's car could have broke down. They're walking on the side of the road. There are no traffic lights. So you always have to look around. As a beginner, you're going to be driving in the right lane. Hey, Grace, how you doing, girl? You will be driving in the right or middle lane. The right lane is for slow-moving traffic. You don't want to be in the left because you're going to have to go 10 over, 12 over, 15 over the limit. Many of you are not ready for that. And me as an instructor, I want to advocate you to drive safely at the speed limit, right? That's the important thing, because if you drive over the speed limit, you're going to start feeling comfortable. You're going to get a ticket. And if you get a ticket, then that's something your parent and you will talk about, because your parent's insurance will increase by 30%. Okay? So it's really important. I appreciate you, Grace. You know this. How often should we be checking mirrors? Every 12 to 15 seconds, check that mirror. As soon as you're tired. How can we tell if there's a tired driver? They're drifting all over the road, left or right. They're going slow in the fast lane. They're out of pace. So if you're out of pace, you're going to end up causing an accident. And a lot of people have micro sleep episodes. Okay, let's talk about low traffic driving environments. Residential is a low traffic driving environment. Okay. Residential driving environments, low speeds, all of you are going to be driving to your neighborhoods. Your parents won't take you on the main road until they can see, can you keep the car straight? Are you going to drift to left, drift to the right? Are you going to grip the wheel so hard? So you're going to be going in neighborhoods. Low traffic driving environments are great for beginning drivers. Thank you, Grace. Appreciate you. Next, the driver should always scan the roadway. Okay, you're looking for children. You're looking for pedestrians. You're looking for vehicles that are going to back out. You look for objects like a ball, a shoe, metal on the road, glass, debris, which will ruin your day if you're driving to school and then you have a flat tire. Okay, let's keep going. Residential driving environments are controlled by stop signs. Okay, so you're going to have stop sign at the corner or a yield sign. The driver should always come to complete stop. If you get lazy, maybe your mom and dad blow through stop signs. Your bigger brother or sister blows through stop signs. Your cousin. So you think that's okay in your mind, and you don't really stop. And then you get a ticket. That's a 3-point violation. You don't want to get any ticket. So if you see that behavior, because parents are your first teachers, and if your mom and dad speed or go through not yielding, not stopping, cutting cars off, you're going to learn that behavior. And then you're going to get an instructor who follows the book, follows the rules. And then It's a mind-altering focus. So that's what some of you will do. And that's why some of you will get tickets, because I talk to your parents. I've driven some of your brothers or sisters or cousins or friends. It is very important in residential areas due to limited space. Downtown areas, Chicago, Detroit, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California, there are pedestrians who will walk right out in front of you. Drivers have to be aware of vehicles parked. UPS, Federal Express, people are driving for delivery companies, and they'll just stop and put on their four-way flashers. That happened this morning when I was leaving. It was like 7 in the morning, and there was a truck there kind of parked at an angle, and they were dropping off packages to the right and left. If parking on the side of the road in a residential area, the vehicle should never block a hydrant. Let's keep moving. Let's talk about rural areas. I need you guys to put in questions. I'm going through this, and then I'm going to give you several quizzes, because with quizzes, we can look at data. I'm going to see who's playing, who's sleeping, who's really asking questions. You get in what you put into this class. If you're a kid who kind of goofs off, you're going to have mid grades. If you're a kid who works hard, takes good notes, has a study guide, I'm one of those teachers. Study guide. One of my students today, she missed Friday, took her test, she got an 85%. She had her study guide. I knew she was rushing. Usually she gets a 95%, but she had her study guide. This driving company gives you a study guide, but many of you won't do it because I look at your test data. And as an instructor, I'm looking at data. How can I get better? How can you get better? So I will be quizzing you on this driving in rural environments. It can be harder the older you get, because you may get nervous, you might not be aware, but also it can be an opportunity, because after 24 years old, your brain is fully developed. Under 24 years old, your brain is not developed. This is why people in your age group do crazy things. They say 6, 7, right? You do random stuff, but that random stuff could cost you your life. That random stuff could get you arrested. So remember, I used to be a probation officer. Your age group is the group that I sees, not 24, not 25, not 27, barely 21. So I'm just letting you know it does happen. Yeah, I know, 6, 7. Okay, let's keep going. So driving in a rural environment, that's kind of the country area, animals are going to pop up. We've seen 5 or 6 dead deer. They're out. Vehicles unexpectedly enter the roadway. Poor road conditions, soft shoulders, lack of the ability to properly scan. I take some of you on small, narrow roads, you're falling off the shoulder of the road because you're looking at the speedometer. You're not looking ahead. I'm trying to teach you to aim high. I can speak for that after I talk to my boss. So that's the truth. Hills, curves, narrow roadways are common in rural areas. They require the driver to be cautious. Okay. You always want to be cautious and be aware. The driver should position their vehicle on the right side. Can self-driving cars be 100% safe? The answer is no. No car is 100% safe. I'll say that again. We've seen wham bam Tesla. No car is 100% safe. If that was the case, we would have 0 accidents. Let's just say that again. No car is 100% safe. We're not there yet. If that's the case, we would not have automotive insurance companies. So no car is 100% safe. I love the question, and I love to speak truth. The driver should always position their vehicle on the right side as they pass. Rural driving, unpaved roads, soft shoulders. So it's really important that you understand that and stay focused. Put in questions. I like the questions. Pop in some questions. Rural driving environments can be very open, meaning there's little light. It's hard to see. You might have moonlight. You might be able to see the stars. All of a sudden, there's a curve. You're going straight. You go into the ditch. Okay. We do have flying cars, but very few of us can really afford them. Let's keep going. So there are open areas. There's wind turbulence. We were driving this weekend. Wind was pushing the car left or pushing the car right. Okay. And that's harder for beginning drivers to control, for all of us to control. Put in some questions on rural driving. Okay. I'm doing one section at a time. Put your questions in. Go ahead and do that right now. I'll wait a few minutes. I need all of you put in questions. You get in what you put into the class. I always go over the content first. Then you do a quizzy. We'll see if you're really listening. then you're going to work. That's good teaching. I have a format. I cover their information. I'm thorough. The company's watching. The video is recorded. The state looks over the video. They pop in. Let's see if this instructor is covering what we have put together. Your car is damaged. And if you want your car fixed, then you're going to have to get a police report. So Ben, you asked if you hit a dog in a rural area. You might want to look for the house a few miles down, left or right. Hey, I hit a dog. I'm sorry. It's just your animal. If I was the owner and you hit my dog and you didn't tell me, I would have a problem with you, Ben. I'm just being honest. Okay, if you have a dog and your dog is hit and you at least hope the passenger person who hit your dog, well, at least, most dogs should have a tag on. They should be microchipped. So Ben, if it was me and I hit an animal, I'm going to call the DNR. They're probably they have to come out, get the animal off the road. Maybe the dog is chipped. Responsible pet owners chip their dog or cat in case they get scared and run away. So I'm giving you some real life situations. Is there a fine if you park in front? Yes, of course. You'll get your car. The window will be broke, Hudson. You'll get a ticket. You never should park by a fire hydrant. 35 to 45 miles an hour. Let's keep going. Parallel parking, we're working the skills. If your vehicle loses control and you shift to neutral, you still have to slow the car down. Just because you shift to neutral, the car is still out of control. So the thing is you want to lift your foot off the brake. You want to gain steering control first. I like it. I can tell people are thinking. All right, let's keep moving. We're talking about high traffic driving environments. Okay, I'm talking about high traffic. Neutral means the motor and transmission are disconnected. It is in the packet that I'm going over. You downshift into a lower gear. You use your park brake if your brakes fail. That's one of the questions on your study guide. Okay, let's talk about driving an urban environment. Pedestrians pop up. Vehicles abruptly enter the roadway. Road users decide to park on the side of the street without prior notice. Drivers exit their vehicle without looking or paying attention. Unexpected changes in traffic signals. From a suburban area to a downtown Chicago, downtown Detroit, downtown Houston, any downtown area, the lights are set on a different timer. We're talking about gravel in a moment. I like that. Some people are listening. If the driver attempts to change lanes without prior checking your blind spots or enter another lane, you want to try to give them space. Drivers must maintain vigorous. You have to learn to look. That's the biggest thing all of you struggle with. Looking in your environment, looking around, looking left, looking middle, looking right, checking your rear mirrors as you slow down, checking your mirrors to the left, checking your mirrors to the right. Your car has mirrors for a reason. You have to look at them. And if I can give you one tip, check those mirrors. It's really important. Okay? What happens if you don't change the oil? Your motor will lock up. The oil will break down and you don't have proper lubrication. That's on you because you don't take care of your car. And some people do that. They never change the oil. And then you see an internet story. Old lady never changed oil after 5 years. And then she goes to an oil change and the oil does not run out of the oil pan. And then they pull the oil cover off and the oil has crystallized on the engine. So that means you never got top maintenance. That means you've wasted $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. So you really have to stay on top of your maintenance. And that's part of your mom's responsibility, your dad's responsibility, your school's auto club, auto shop. All of you should be required to take auto shop. Okay? So you know how to change a tire, how to change oil, how to check your oil. Let's keep going. Good visual search patterns, get the big picture. When you're driving, let's use Hudson as an example, just pretend he's looking down now, but he should be looking up. That's what a lot of you will do, okay? Let's use Aiden as an example. He's way back like this. This tells me he's not really engaged. It's all about your nonverbals. Just like I can look through right now, okay? Carla looks like she's paying attention, okay? Just like me, I'm engaged, I'm active. Okay, when stopped at an intersection, a rural environment, it's very important that drivers do not block the crosswalk. Let's talk about roundabouts. Roundabouts. Okay. Ben, we'll talk about that after class. You showed up at the wrong time. Always be honest with students. But Ben, you're not the only one to show up at the wrong time. We'll speak. We'll look at it. I'll check it. It happens, Ben. But that's why I have my schedule. No hate, no cap. Ben, you're okay. All right, let's talk about roundabouts. Okay. Roundabouts are circular intersections. Okay. Roundabouts are circular intersections. Do you eat bread ends? Yes. I stick them in peanut butter. Okay, let's talk about this. So you have to yield before you gain. A lot of you will panic because you go in too fast. Okay, don't panic. Take your time. Be patient. Yield signs are present at all entrances of roundabouts to regulate traffic. If a car's in the roundabout or a truck, you squeeze your brake, you allow traffic to go by. When there's a gap, we proceed. Yes, you're on curfew. As a first-time driver in the graduated license, you're on curfew. And if you get caught past curfew, you could get a warning. Go home, kid. Police officer. Or let me see your permit. I'm going to write you a ticket for violating your curfew, and then you get in trouble. Many of you will not even risk. Some of you will. So if you want to risk a ticket, then you could get one. So roundabouts only allow traffic to go in to the right and never to the left of it. Okay. We go through roundabouts all the time. Put in questions as we go along. Drivers must slow down and enter the roundabouts. Okay. You only stop when there's a vehicle. A lot of you will panic and you should not be stopping. And then I see 3 or 4 or 5 cars behind us. Then you pause and you freeze up, and then you don't look to the left and a car comes. And then I have to squeeze the brake. Let's keep going. Drivers should never stop at a roundabout unless traffic unexpectedly backs up and they cannot go further. Drivers should move into the proper lane before entering the roundabout. That's going to be a question on your test. Drivers should maintain a slow speed and watch for pedestrians always. Entering the highway, always use common sense. If you look to the left and it's really backed up, you're going to have to slow down. You're going to wait for a gap. The traffic on the highway has the right of way. Someone will make room for you. You can't stop on a ramp if it's an absolute emergency. It is common sense, but people don't have common sense. They don't check mirrors. They don't look. They panic. I have a big truck. I can just run you over. Okay. So a lot of people have that. So you want to be that defensive driver. You always want to be courteous, right? Put questions in on roundabouts. Okay. Questions in on roundabouts. I love going over the information thoroughly. So you can't say, well, we don't go over anything. And then you're going to be doing the next sheet in a moment after we do our quizzing. What should I do if I yield for a vehicle in a roundabout, but they're going too fast and their vehicle's out of control? Let them crash and move ahead. So what I want you to do is not panic. Let's pretend a crazy dog is running towards you. If you act scared and run, the dog's going to run towards you. If you pause and walk slowly, the dog may just stop. So a lot of you as beginners panic. Don't panic. Just like when I'm driving with you and you run a light. I don't panic. When I'm driving with you and you turn on the wrong blinker and cut off a car, I don't panic. When you don't stop and almost hit a car, I don't panic. So I'm saying this for real. You have to learn not to panic. That's when accidents happen. You never switch lanes in the roundabout. You switch lanes before the roundabout. Okay? If you missed your turn, you're going to have to go in, turn around, and go back. I like the question, so let's keep it coming. Thank you, Cole. Let's talk about highway driving. Highway driving is done at a higher speed than rural and urban areas. It causes drivers to maintain their speed, their time. It depends on the roundabout. You won't have a stop sign. You will have a yield sign, Ben. yield signs, unless it's a very special roundabout. But think about this, Ben. Why would you have a stop sign at a roundabout when it's a circular intersection? You would have a yield. So you would not have a stop sign. You would have a yield sign. We want traffic to go in the roundabout and out of the roundabout. We don't want traffic to stop. We want traffic to keep moving. So that's why they make regular intersections into circular intersections and make them roundabouts. If you don't believe me, Ben, look it up. Okay. So Camden, that's part of something you have to deal with. Okay. If you get irritated at something, you're going to have a problem. That's what happens in life. We always can't get what we want. So maintain speed. A lot of you will struggle. The speed limit is 70. You'll go like 60 or 50. You're going too slow. A highway is a limited access. There are no intersections. There are no crosswalks. Okay? There are separate roads with 2 or more lanes going in the same direction. Next, graded hills. They are gradually going up and then they gradually go down. There's minimum and maximum speeds. The minimum speed is about 50 miles an hour. If you can't maintain at least 50, you're going to get a ticket. Okay. Marshall, we already talked about that. Marshall, you yield for traffic already in the roundabout. Remember, yield signs are present at all entries. Roundabouts are circular intersections. Okay. Entering traffic yields to traffic already in. So, Marshall, I just answered your question. It's right there in front of you. So I want to continue. We're talking about highways right now. Keep putting in your questions. Maintain advantages of a highway. You can carry larger volumes of traffic. Collisions and fatality rates are lower because there are no intersections. There are no crosswalks. Cross traffic is not present because of the interchanges. Traffic traveling in the opposite direction is separated by a guardrail or a cement wall. Pedestrians, bicyclists, and other slow-moving vehicles are not permitted on these roads. They are designated to assist drivers in anticipating someone ahead. If someone is pulled over on the side of the highway, am I required to get over to the far lane? There's something called the move over law. We talked about that in class the other session. If there's a police or emergency or tow truck, most states require you to move over one lane. Okay, if you can't, you want to get over to the left of your lane. So we don't want to hit a police officer, hit a tow truck operator, or hit an emergency worker. Keep the questions coming. Drivers entering the highway are using a ramp. They have to search well in advance for a gap. Some of you have questions about space in cars. A gap is the space so you can enter smoothly. You don't want to disrupt the flow of the traffic, but beginning drivers go 40 and you should be going 60. So you want to make sure you can pick up your speed. The far left lane should only be used for passing. When leaving the highway, drivers should use the proper lane in advance. They also should approach the exit ramp and use their signal. There's something called a weave lane. Cars are going off, other cars are going on. The majority of multiple vehicle collisions on highway are due to following too close or not maintaining their entry or exit. Let's talk about highway hypnosis, then I'm going to have you guys put in some questions. As a driver travels a long distance on a highway, they must be aware to make sure they avoid highway hypnosis. This is an inattentive state of mind. Sometimes drivers often fall asleep. This occurs after drivers travel mile after mile, a steady speed, and it lulls them into a relaxed state. Put in questions before I go on. I'm very thorough, and I'm expecting very good test grades. Put in your questions. Guys, the session is great so far. I don't know. We're talking about driver's ed. We're not talking about being on the coaster. People do freeze up when they get nervous. It's called information overload. So if you are in the downtown area, you see 100 people walk past you. Whoa, that's kind of weird. You see a delivery truck cut you off. You're like, whoa, the truck didn't see you. The light changes fast. You're like, oh my God. And you have to slam brakes. because the police are behind you. And if you run the light, you get a ticket. So that's called information overload. I would say about an hour, 35, 40 minutes. Every driver's different. Remember, you guys are not doing deep driving. You're not driving an hour on the expressway. You're going on the expressway, you're getting off at the next exit. We're going on the expressway, you're getting off at the next exit. So we want to have you build up momentum. And it's really important. You want to build a momentum to learn how to merge. The first time, you might go too fast, 70 or 80. The second time, you might go 40. Okay? You take breaks, Kyle. You take breaks, you get out, stretch your legs. Every about 100 miles, you get out. Okay? You take breaks, get something to eat, and then you get back in. So remember, well, you guys are not driving deep spots right now. And when your parents trust you enough, you're going to get out there. There are laws going through tunnels if you're a hazardous material carrier. Okay? But most of you are going to be driving cars. You're not 21. You're not going to get your CDL. Although I had taught a student whose grandmother was a truck driver. Both of her uncles were truck drivers. So truck drivers ran in their family. Let's keep going. I like the questions. We talked about how we hypnosis get out about every 100 miles. Okay. You want to stay out of the way of accidents, rollovers. You always have to be aware. Tire could blow up. Someone could have a flat tire. A car could break down. So you don't want to be near cars. You want to be ahead of the pack or behind the pack. We don't want to be in the wolf pack. The wolf pack is our group of cars. Okay, we talked about highway hypnosis. Let's talk about passing. I like this. We're doing good here. We're going to go all the way up to road rage. And of course, that's going to be on your test. I love that. And I'm thorough. I like the questions. Let's keep them coming in. What is the speed limit when driving on a mountain? I don't know. We don't live by mountains. So I don't know that, Cole. Okay? We don't have mountains in our region. So I don't know. Every state is different. Okay? So look it up, my brother. It's okay to say, no, you don't understand or don't know. Okay, let's talk about passing. Passing is one of the most dangerous driving maneuvers because it requires the driver to leave their lane and enter a lane for traffic traveling the opposite direction. So that's really important. There are 80 questions on the test. You remember I went over that when you guys first started day one? Remember, your teacher's thorough. There are 80 questions. You have 2 hours. And some of you would need the full 2 hours. All right, let's keep going. Keep the questions coming in. Before passing, a driver must decide, does it make sense under the existing road conditions? Is it safe? Do you have enough room? Is it legal? I will have you make multiple lane changes. Okay? I will have you make multiple lane changes. Do you check your mirror? Do you turn your blinker? Do you look over your shoulder and check your blind spot? Some of you don't even do that. And it's my job to teach you. And it's your parents' job to reinforce what I taught you. That's what good instructors do. Bad instructors just let you do what you want. You have accident. So we're going to talk about that. You want to have space in front of you. The speed limit on the other side of the vehicle. So you don't want to have to go over the speed limit to pass. Okay, if you have to go over the speed limit, you can't make that maneuver. The roadway should be dry and clear of any debris. The weather should be clear and dry. Passing should never occur on a hill or a curve because you can't see. Again, passing should never happen on a curve or a hill because you can't see. Once the driver has decided it's a safe pass, the driver must check mirrors. Turn on your turn signal. Verify again that the passing area is clear and safe. Accelerate. A lot of you put your foot on the brake. You can give it to the birds. You can make bread salad. You can make a salad. When you can see the front tires in your rear mirror, you know you have enough room. A lot of beginners make good passes, but then they cut off the car or truck. Wait till you can see the vehicle's headlights and front grille in your rear mirror. Turn off your right turn signal. Okay, put in questions about passing. right now. There are two areas. If you really want to learn, here it is. Put in questions about passing. Go ahead and do that. I like it. So you can give breadcrumbs to the birds. You can make bread salad. You can use them as croutons in the salad. Okay, bread ends are good. You can bake them. Okay, there's multiple things to do. So we don't want to waste food. Waste not, want not. Keep it going. Get us some thumbs up. Let's go. There are many bad drivers on the road, and I think it comes from maybe not having a good instructor. Camden, why do people change lanes? Because you're going too slow. They want to get around you. Okay, they might have to make a left turn. So there's a reason why. And I'm giving you an honest reason. If you're going too slow and they have to get where they're going, sorry, it happens. I think I got a bad connection. If you're going too slow, they're going to pass you. All of you are driving on the road. We're driving on the road. You're going 5 under. Why do people pass us? Because you're going too slow. And I try to tell you, pick it up, and your mind is locked in going 10 under the limit. A lot of beginning drivers go 10 under. That's a very dangerous situation for us because you're going to have to slam brakes or run lights. If you fall asleep while driving, you will crash. It's called micro sleep episodes. If someone is driving too slow and speeds up and they try to pass you, what should you do? Maintain speed. Thank you, Elizabeth. Is it illegal to pass a police officer or other enforcement officers? Most officers are going to drive at the limit. It's not illegal to pass the officer, but make sure it's a legal maneuver. Like if you have to cross yellow lines, you're going to get a ticket. They have cameras in the back of their car and in the front. Just in case you want to say the officer singled me out. So police officers have a dash cam in the front and in the back, and they have audio. So if you want to say what officer is going too slow and then you have to cross a double yellow line, I would probably stay behind the police car. Okay? But I love the honesty of your question. Why do people switch lanes? Because people are going too slow. All right, let's keep going. Adverse weather. We're going to talk about sand and gravel, falling leaves, potholes, unpaved roads. I love it. And then we're going to end on road rage. I think that's very good. We're doing solid. Keep the questions coming in. Okay. This is the fall time of year. There are leaves. We've had a little snow. So every driver must be aware and know how to adapt to the current weather conditions. Besides the slope and the banking of road surfaces, the other main condition could be sand and gravel. Sand and gravel are like little ball bearings. You could slide on them over the road. Okay, if you live on a dirt road and then you have to go out onto a paved road, dirt is in that first lane. That can make someone spin out, lose control. Please put questions in. So sand or gravel on the road surface can reduce traction. The driver should avoid turning or braking or accelerating very quickly. Once they pass through the sand or gravel, they can assume proper speed. So that's something you need to keep in your mind. Okay. Falling leaves, the road surfaces can reduce traction. Okay. Especially if they're wet. Drivers should maneuver gently to increase following distance. If they must brake, they should squeeze the brake gently. Yes, you can maneuver your car slowly, parking lots, backing up in a driveway. Let's talk about potholes. Potholes or large bumps in the pavement can be very harmful to your rims, tires, and suspension. If done so safely, the driver should always try to avoid going through potholes. So when you guys are driving, sometimes the instructor has to turn the wheel to the left because we could blow out our front tire. We could blow out a strut. You could break an axle. Okay? So understand what he or she is trying to do. The most common during the spring thaw season, because we have a freezing and thawing cycle, and let's not blame it on the heavy trucks. Every state has a different chemistry for roadways, concrete roads, asphalt. Every state is different, and they allocate millions and millions of dollars. Unpaved roads can be very dangerous due to loss of traction can occur. Drivers should drive slower, increase their following distance, but they must be aware that if there's a steep drop-off and not a shoulder edge of the road, you could lose control. And if you overreact, you're going to flip the car. Rain can be very dangerous. because it reduces your vision. The oil and gas mix together the first couple of minutes, and it makes a very slippery pace. If you're spotting someone on the road, if you're by a restaurant, a entertainment district, they're going to have people who are consuming. Your job is to be aware. And if you know that you're by a restaurant or a club or an entertainment facility, you better start looking for people who are pulling out. So the rain can cause you to lose traction. There's something called hydroplaning. I only see 3 questions in. Let's keep rolling. Hydroplaning can occur with a combination of going too fast, your tires are worn out, reduced inflation, your tires have low tread depth, meaning like your gym shoe. If you have brand new gym shoes, you're going to have better traction on the gym floor. If you have worn out tires or worn out shoes, you're going to slide. Okay, this is why you see basketball players wipe off their shoes. They actually have a floor mat that has a very sticky film on there. You'll see the coach pull this film off. The girls' team or the boys' team will actually step on there with their gym shoes, get some more adhesion, and then they go into the court. The same thing with your tires. You want to make sure they're warmed up. You want to make sure you have adequate tires, and you got to really learn to watch. I need more questions put in. So hydroplaning can occur with going too fast. It is recommended that you drive on low beam headlights, not in high beam headlights. Let's talk about wind. Heavy wind can cause your car to drift left or right. And it's usually it could be an open area. This will typically occur on raised bridges, tunnels, between tall buildings and open areas. Let's keep going. Put in questions because you're going to have questions on each of these. Fog and smog. The result of rapid condensation of humidity in the air, temperature drops quickly. This can greatly reduce to zero visibility. When you first get into the car, you're breathing very heavy. There's hot breath in the car. Your window is cold. Your windows will fog up. You've done this before when you've been 5 or 6 or 7. You have to wait 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to let the car warm up. Then you can drive. Okay, you're going to have the rear defroster on, the front defroster on. You're going to have it on heat, red all the way to the right. Could be usually heat. All the way to the left, it's blue. That means cold. Okay, we went over the dashboard. I'm glad I'm going over this because it could snow this weekend. If a driver encounters heavy fog, they should reduce their speed. If it's too heavy, the driver should pull over. Okay, so you got to have that common sense. If you can't see in front of you, you shouldn't be driving. Winter driving, we live in a cold weather region. Okay, it's extremely dangerous. It may cause issues with drivers, snow and ice. All of you have seen snow. All of you have seen ice. You've seen schools closed, college closed, power lines. We will have snow days. Yay. But if the weather's really bad, you should not be driving. Okay? Drivers should always increase their following distance. Try not to slam brakes. Nighttime driving. And then we'll talk about road rage. I need some questions on this. Nighttime driving. For all of you, nighttime driving is the Achilles heel. This means you can't see as well. It's called visual acuity. I love that. Please remember visual acuity. This is your ability to see clearly. Decreased distance and depth perception. That's the next big thing for beginning drivers. I ask you to make a right turn, you go right off the road. I ask you to make a left turn, you go in the wrong lane because you don't have good visibility. Colors and contrasts are less distant. Driver's eyes must constantly adjust. So I see fear in beginning driver's eyes when you don't look around, you don't check. It takes 3 or 4 or 5 drives to get used to driving at night. While driving at night, the driver must drive with their headlights, meaning if you go too fast, then you won't be able to see what's in front of you. This, of course, is the driver should look at the white line to the right. That's the edge line or fog line. I always talk about that. Lane line reference. Let's see what you have for questions, and we're going to end on road rage. What should I do with autism? I don't know. I'm not a doctor that can give you a certification on that. You're going to have to check with your doctor. Usually kids who have some astigmatism, if you have astigmatism and you can legally be in this class, and you have corrected lenses on, you're going to be okay. Okay. Some kids are farsighted. You can't see things near. Some kids are nearsighted. You can't see things far. So I always ask that because I want to know, can you see? Okay. Yes. Let's keep going. Should we use high beams or low beams for hydroplaning? No, you use regular headlights for hydroplaning. And hydroplaning doesn't mean you put on headlights. Hydroplaning means you're going too fast and you will crash. Okay. So you're kind of mixing two things in to get an answer, and that's wrong. It's like you make breakfast, you make eggs, and then you put cereal in your eggs. They don't mix. So you always want to drive with low beam headlights on so you can see and be seen by others. Why aren't we supposed to use brights? Because the water particles and fart particles will reflect back into your eyes. So we want to drive with low beam headlights on. I like the questions. Black ice is everywhere. If your car has ice and you've got to scrape off the windows, there's black ice in your driveway. You almost slipped and fell. There's black ice at the bottom of your street. There's black ice at the corner. Ice can form on bridges, overpasses because they are elevated. I like the questions. We're starting to put information together. I forgot it's called a black trap. Black tarp. That's asphalt. Okay. They use asphalt to repair that. You don't put cement where asphalt is. You don't put asphalt where cement is. They each have their combinations. I like it. You're starting to think. Okay, let's end with road rage. And then we're going to do a quizzy. If a tire explodes, you want to try to get over to the right and turn on your four-way hazards. Okay? Because a person could flip their car and lose control. Let's talk about road rage or aggressive driving. Has become a major issue that can occur on any road and impact all road users. Most common causes of road rage: overstressed drivers, traffic backups, motorists improperly blocking the road, motorists invading a space of others, drivers making communication errors, meaning you're not using your blinkers, drivers using their high beams instead of low beams as they approach other motorists, inappropriate honking, drivers using gestures to communicate with other motorists, offensive stickers or other vehicle decorations. Okay? And that's where you learn to respect the common good. I love that I'm going over this. And I only had 2 more sections, and then we're going to do a quiz. You need to put more questions in. Time is good. There are levels of aggressive driving. Verbal aggression. You're going to get cussed out. They're going to honk at you. Quiet aggression. The driver is going to rush in to complete their maneuvers. Rush-in aggression occurs when drivers are in a hurry. If you're in a hurry to school, you're going to have road rage. You're going to rush in. You're going to blow the light. You're not going to stop at the corner. You're going to speed through the school zone. And then you're going to get 2 tickets because the officer's there and you didn't see them. This weekend we were driving, we saw 3 officers just sitting there hiding. And we saw a student's friend speeding ahead of us, cutting lanes. This is true. Okay? They were late. So if you're late, you're going to be rushing in. It's called rush-in aggression. You're in a hurry. They're constantly changing lanes because they think that it will allow them travel faster. They ignore signs, regulations, okay? Or they drive in a pushy manner. So I'm trying to protect you from this because a lot of times we have the student driver sign on top. We have one on the back, one on the front of the car, on the left and right. Drivers should stay away from us, but some of them tailgate us or they're hiding in our blind spots. Please put in questions on this. I'm really trying to help you. Total aggression. This is when someone loses everything. They use their vehicle to block other drivers, to make a maneuver. They display nasty looks or gestures. Okay? They think that physical violence toward the other driver. This is why we show you road rage videos. And some of you trigger that because you're going too slow. Or you didn't use your blinker. Or you used the wrong blinker. Okay? Violence and road rage occurs when the driver deliberately uses their vehicle as a weapon. to make contact or try to run the other driver over. Use a vehicle or another motorist to exit the vehicle and have a physical altercation, just like we saw Wham Bam Tesla. Okay, the guy with his daughter in the back, the guy in the pickup truck. They were chasing each other around, going through the roundabout 4 or 5 times. Both of them deserve tickets. You guys know what it's about. So you get into a physical altercation. Here's some of the best ways. You need to put in questions, and then we're going to do a quizzy. Okay? Ketchup and ice cream is awesome. I like hot sauce. Okay, the best strategies for avoiding aggressive driving and road rage are: reduce your stress, leave early, drive at the speed limit, minimize distractions, don't drive angry, upset, or overly tired. Know where you are going and avoid getting lost or confused. If I take you to a downtown Chicago, downtown Detroit, downtown Houston, Texas, you don't know where you're going. You're going to drive very slow. You're looking for streets. You're checking the GPS. You want to leave space. Don't tailgate. I need more questions put in. Get the other drivers plenty of space to merge. Use your turn signal when necessary. A lot of you don't do that. Avoid using gestures or vehicle horns unnecessarily. Only use the vehicle's high beam headlights when there is no oncoming traffic approaching. Never engage or respond to an aggressive driver. I need you to put in questions. Is it okay to break the law? No. It's never okay to break the law. Ignorance is no excuse. Let's pretend someone is chasing you. You run through a light and kill someone. You're going to get the ticket. So you always want to have an out. So Ben asked the question, it's okay to break the law if someone is threatening your life. It's not okay to break the law. There's always the space. Turn around, do a U-turn, get off the road. It's never okay to break the law. Never. At what point should we call 911? If someone is constantly following you, you made multiple turns, all of you have phones, push a button in the car. Officer, there's a car following me. The license plate is 1234 BYU. Okay? You're not allowed to drive with your interior lights on. It distracts other drivers. You will get a ticket. Yes, I want you to subscribe to my channel, and we're talking about this now. Okay, I need all of you to put in what you learned. Put in what you learned right now, please. I'll get the quizzy ready. Guys, we have a great situation going on. A lot of good learning right now. And then we're going to answer your questions. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach adults and teens. I'm giving you tips right now. So you want to go ahead and just lock in, right? You got to lock in on this. You're going to learn so much today. It's a great session. If you haven't already, you need to subscribe. Why? I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach adults and teens. We're going over a lot of information to really help you shine, to help you get better. Isn't that what it's all about? Helping you improve, okay? You need to be locking in. You need to be subscribing, because if you subscribe, this tells me you really care, such as Grace, such as E, right? Usually people who aren't subscribing and leaving random comments, you're just getting removed, right? Usually students who are really prepared will do a good job, okay? So I really want you to be prepared. I really want you to do a good job, okay? You have to do a good job. Put in questions. Put in questions right now. It's really important. You get in what you put into this live. I'm going to take my time and go live as much as I can. We really want you to be safe. We really want you to be aware. We want you to do your best. And that's what it's really all about. Doing your best and just really being prepared. All All right, guys, we're getting ready to do test mode right now. We're getting ready to get this going. You're going to join myquiz.com, and this will tell me if you're really paying attention. Join myquiz.com, join myquiz.com, lock in, join myquiz.com. Let's go, guys. Join myquiz.com. Class is going great. We got some good learning going on. I went through that teaching binder. I was thorough. I'm solid. I reviewed everything. It's your job to really hit that goal, become a good driver. And then expectation is when you drive, you're going to do well. And good instructors do that. Then they give you time to work. So you're going to be working now. After you go over this quizzing, I'll go over the answers, and then you're going to be working. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start this right now. I'm not even going to waste time. And then you guys can join in. So go ahead, and the code is up there, 935038. 935038. Guys, this is a great situation here. Cheeseburgers are awesome. I like some hot sauce that's put into the middle of the hamburger. I like bacon put in. Also like some garlic put in. That's always awesome. So you want to make sure that all you have to do is refresh your browser, right? Refresh your browser, get in, let's get this done. There are 36 questions. You want to make sure that you're always learning tips on driving. Look at my video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to show you everything you need to do because I'm a state certified driving instructor. I'm going to go live in the morning. I'll show you heavy traffic. You'll see road rage. You'll see people going 80, going 90, going 100, getting caught by the police. We saw a car flipped over last week. So we can't predict what's going to happen in traffic, but the one thing you'll see me do, you'll see me leave an hour early. You'll see me get gas if I have to. You'll see me go through the drive-thru. You'll see me prepare mentally. You'll see the car is warmed up. I'll show you how to properly merge. So you'll see all those things to help you become a good driver. And that's what good instructors do. They help you become a good driver. And they show you what to do. They show you the right things to do. If you're doing something wrong, they'll correct you. They will help you improve. And that's what it's really all about, improving as a student and having an instructor who every 2 years goes through professional development. It's on top of all their paperwork. I'm a state certified driving instructor. And depending on the state, country, or region, some certifications could be 3 years, 4 years. If you get too many tickets, you'll lose your endorsement. Okay? So I have to drive and follow the rules. I think every day that you see these videos and you really lock in the morning and the afternoon, you're going to learn a lot how to navigate traffic in downtown Detroit, downtown Chicago, downtown Houston, Texas, downtown Los Angeles, California, okay, downtown Toronto, okay, every area, downtown Iowa. So every area has different advantages and disadvantages. And I think if you're over 21, you got to really prep and be prepared. If you're under 21, you got to really lock in and make time. A lot of drivers don't lock in. I'm locking in. I'm going 100% on this for you, to show you content, to help you with test prep, to give you shorts, to give you longs, to give you Q&A questions. When you see me go live, you need to be subscribing. If you're talking about random stuff, you're going to be removed. If you're talking about driving and you have a solid question, I'm going to answer it, right? So you have to have a good sense of humor. You got to be able to teach people how to drive. And that is so important. You want to teach people how to drive. You want to be prepared for when they have the opportunity. Some of us drive at 16. Some of us drive at 26. Some drive at 36. Some drive at 46, right? I have an opportunity this Wednesday to pitch my idea to organizations who want to fund entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur, okay? So you got to be brave. And I have to have confidence in my ability. You have to have confidence in your ability. You should feel safe and comfortable knowing that I'm not going to laugh at your question. We are talking about driver's education. We're talking about driving adults. Okay. And if you have a good question, I'll put a star by it and then I'll pin your comment. If you're saying something random, you're going to be removed. And typically, we have 5 or 6 people who are just saying random stuff and then they get removed. So it's really important that you lock in, that you prepare, and that you do your best job. Because isn't that what it's all about? You learning everything you can, you really being prepared for everything that you're going to encounter. It's important. Hey, I'm from Brazil. My son played football in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Okay. And a fight between the Star Platinum and the World Who Wins. Don't know. But let's go ahead and talk about driving. In Brazil, you probably have a manual. And do you know how to drive, author? Yes, no. Do you know how to drive in Brazil, right? Um, and the laws could be different. Okay. If you come to the United States, we drive on the right. We mainly drive automatics. There's some people who drive manuals. I do know how to drive a manual. Okay. It's all good. But in terms of culture and climate, um, I'm about driving. And I visited Montreal before. Um, Obviously, I've been up through to Toronto, so Quebec. So you've got, and then I have an enhanced license. I can go through anywhere in the 50 states. I can go to Mexico. I can go to the Caribbean islands. So I have an enhanced license. Then, of course, the real ID. Okay. If you're trying to come to the United States, you got to have the real ID. So these are some things you need. Let's keep it going. For Brazil, we need to get national. Yes, I really like that. That would be awesome. I would love to have that national license and teach. Okay, please make sure you subscribe, Arthur. Arthur, are you subscribed? I love that national license. If you can take the test nowadays, it's easier, but the past it was very hard to get. I understand. Okay. And if you're willing to take the test, fine. It could cost a lot more. I've been watching a lot of different videos on obtaining licenses in other countries. It is very expensive, right? Some people wait till they're in their late teens, early 20s. Okay. A lot of people can't afford to go through the training process. So I definitely understand. Arthur, make sure you are subscribed because you're getting knowledge. You're learning so much. Get this thing a thumbs up. We're trying to get to double thumbs up. I think we're at 6 or 8. Give it a thumbs up. Take your time, guys. We're going to go over everything and then you're going to be working. Everything is great. Keep putting in work. So how hard do you want to work, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I'm going to try to give you my best. When I take the time to go live, I'm telling you real life what's going on. I'm telling you perspectives to help you become a good driver. Isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what it's all about, to learn how to drive a manual, a 6-speed, a 5-speed, a 4-speed, okay? How to drive a electric vehicle, okay? How to drive an old school car, okay? How to drive a 69 Corvette 427, okay? And they have different shifters, different synchronizers, right? And how to drive a semi truck, okay? And that's kind of the trend today. A lot of younger people finish up, guys. I want to go over this in a few minutes, and then you're going to be working. So just preparing for an opportunity. The biggest fear was, what if your mom and dad get sick? You got to take someone to the hospital, right? In a moment, I'm going to go ahead and end this so we can go over it and keep it going. So we want to make sure that you're locked in, that you ask good questions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the session, and then we're going to look at the data. We're going to view the report. So I'm going over questions. Good teachers review information, 83% accuracy. That's great. Okay, let's look at the questions. Okay. Why is speeding particularly dangerous for new drivers? New drivers often underestimate their control. 14 of you got that right. Great. Next, what happens when you text while driving according to the Virginia Tech research? So first, we want to put Virginia out of the way. You want to pick the best answer. It makes you a better multitasker. You know that's not the answer. It has no effect on driving. So now you have two choices. It reduces crash risk by 50%. That is false. The correct answer is it increases risk 23 times. So most of you were able to pick the correct answer. Let's go to the next. What percentage of teen fatalities involve unbelted drivers? It's not 70%. It's not 10. So 70, you throw that out. 10, too low. So now you have 47 or 25%. It is 47%. That is the correct answer. So this tells me you got to be able to read the test questions, and this will help you. Next, why is even one drink dangerous for teen drivers? A BAC as low as 0.05 doubles your crash risk. Okay? All these things do happen. So you want to pick the best educated answer. Please put in your questions. Sorry, I had to flip down. All right. No, I'm right here in front of you, Landon. Locked in. I see your faces, but you don't see me. Thank you. All right, let's keep going. What mistake did Tyler make when driving in wet conditions? So all of you are Tyler. You're a beginning driver. He drove too slow? No. He avoided puddles? No. He used cruise control safely. He didn't adjust his speed. He hydroplaned and drowned. So a lot of beginning drivers, when it first starts to rain, don't adjust their speed. So it's really important. Let's go. What happens when teens run red lights or stop signs? You crash. It's simple. Police never notice. There's always one time. It is safer to wait for green lights. They save time with no consequences. The best answer is it causes crashes. This is from the National Highway Transportation Safety Organization. Let's go on. Why is tailgating following too close deadly? 1 in 5 crashes are rear-end crashes. It doesn't make the car more aerodynamic. We're not NASCAR. We're not driving 175 to 200 miles an hour. Let's keep going. What happens if you don't check blind spots before changing lanes? You crash. You cut off a car. Most of you do understand that. I'm looking at 12 of you who answered correct. How dangerous is drowsy driving? It's the equivalent to drunk driving, according to AAA. So you want to rest. The only way you can overcome that is rest. Why is overcrowding a car risky? 3+ teens increase your crash risk. Centers for Disease Control. We talked about that when we first started. What happens if you don't adjust your mirrors properly? You sideswipe cars. You cut off cars. Some of you get in the car and you pretend you're adjusting mirrors. I just look at you. You have to adjust your mirrors. If you're shorter, you're going to have the mirror down. If you're taller, you're going to have the mirror up. So it's really important that you understand that. Let's keep going. What is the biggest mistake in a skid? Slamming the brakes. Reduce your speed. Why is it risky eating while driving? It increases your crash risk by 80%. 13 of you got that right. It doesn't help you focus. Only messy foods are dangerous. Not true. It is completely safe. Not true. Let's keep going. Why are bald tires dangerous? 12% of wet road deaths involve bald tires. So if your tires are bald head, it's going to increase your chances of dying. You don't really want to do that. Make good decisions. What happens if you don't use your turn signals? You crash. No signal. How deadly is road rage? 56% of fatal crashes involve road rage. APA. That's the scholarly source. What is the risk of misjudging stopping distance? You rear end someone. Why are headphones dangerous? A lot of you are going to have your headphones. It'll block the emergency sirens and horns. So you see your friends doing that, they're going to crash. Next, what happens if you turn into the wrong lane? You crash. Turn into the nearest lane. Keep your turn as short as possible. Why can't you realize slowly on backup cameras? You'll run over a kid. 210 kids per year die in back over crashes. Kidsandcars.org. So you have to look out of your back window. What's the risk of driving without a license? You'll get caught. You get into a crash. You're so worried about getting caught by the police, you're going to blow a light. You're going to speed. Why is ignoring the check engine light dangerous? 5% of crashes stem from mechanical failures. Why is cruise control risky in the rain? It increases skid risk by 33%. Number 24, how dangerous is the sun glare while driving? It causes 9,000 crashes per year. National Highway Traffic Safety Organization. What is the risk of driving with an unsecured pet? Your pet's going to die. They're going to be thrown out the window. Hit the dashboard. They should be in a harness. What mistake did Kayla make while driving at night? She didn't use her headlights, and she crashed into a semi-truck. How does THC affect driving? It doubles your crash risk. National Highway Transportation Safety Organization. What happens if you drive with bald tires? It increases your chances of dying by 4 times. AAA. Why is grooming, applying makeup, deadly? It increases your crash risk by 8%. Well, times 8. National Highway Traffic Safety Organization. A story where Brianna killed a child while doing mascara. What's the number one takeaway from this? Most teen crashes are preventable. All of you are teens. I'm trying to prevent you from having a crash. According for the Centers of Disease Control, how much more likely are teens involved in a crash? 3 times more likely. On roadways are more slippery when it first starts to rain. Which of the following is true about slippery roads? All of the above. Wet leaves, bridges, shaded areas. Streets and highways are most slipperiest just after it rains. Completing a driver's education course and obtaining your driver's license means you're ready to drive. False. 7 of you picked the wrong answer. Experience. 36. Roads are likely to be especially slick just after it rains. All of you type in 3 things you learned. Let's go, Ethan. Type in 3 things you learned. Let's go. Type in 3 things you learned, guys. Ben, we already talked about why it's most slipperiest after it rains. Look at question 36, Ben. The last 4 questions. Roads are most slipperiest. Streets and highways are most slipperiest. Slippery roads. So Ben, if you see 3 questions talking about slippery roads, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 questions on the test. So I like the fact that you're asking questions, but as a teacher, I'm going to show you the data. Okay, this helps you. Roadways are most slipperiest the first time it rains after a dry spell, because the oil, gas, and dirt and grit mix together, makes the slippery paste, and then you crash. Great speed control is really important. Learning your limitations. If you're tired, you shouldn't drive. If you haven't been practicing, preparing for your driving test, you shouldn't take it. If your mom and dad don't make time for you, you really shouldn't be taking the test. So your parents need to make time for you. And that's really important that they make time for you to learn. All right, I'm getting the pre-test ready for you guys. It's time for you to work. I've done my part. Okay, you're going to do the pretest. You're going to do the first 100 questions. This is 215 question pretest. You're going to do the first 100. All of you should put in 3 things you learned. We talked about blind spots. We talk about road rage. We talked about beginning driver. We talk about drivers falling asleep. We talked about fog, rain, sleet, snow. We talk about not relying on your backup camera. Into kids.org, you're more likely to run over your little brother or sister because you're relying on a backup camera. We talked about being tired while driving. We talked about roundabouts. So you want to make sure you're consistent and you got to practice. Most of you are listening to me. Some of you are not. That's how education is. So I need you to lock in. Okay, you need to do the 100 questions right now. You're going to work. You're going to get this part done. And then we'll have an answer the next time we have class about the first 15 minutes. And I'll be able to tell you. So I'll know tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. So I need you to lock in and do these first 100 questions. So let's get this part done. We're doing a great job here. We got a lot of good learning going on. Put some more questions in for me. Okay, this is your chance to ask about driving. This is your chance to learn. And if you have an educator who's willing to teach you and prepare you, learn. We talked about the driving test. You've got to practice your parallel parking, merging on expressway, checking yielding before you go into the roundabout. So that's really important. Please put more questions in. You're getting good value right now. Put in your questions. The more questions you put in, the more you're going to learn. I think a lot of beginning drivers, as well as adults, just don't practice. And if you feel uncomfortable making left turns, you're going to hesitate. Okay? I think it's also important that you learn to drive with the flow of the traffic. A lot of beginners just don't drive with the flow of the traffic. And if you don't drive with the flow of the traffic, you're going to end up getting a ticket. If you go over the speed limit, you're going to panic. There too, we don't want you to panic. Good speed control is critical, and you learn over time. And as you learn over time, you will continue to improve and continue to get better. How do you park with lots of traffic? You basically have about 10 seconds. If you see a parking spot and you think you can maneuver in there, I would turn your blinker on about 5 cars before. This lets people know, oh man, there's a spot. You've got to check your mirror. You're either going to try to pull in and get in by the curb, or you're going to go past the spot, put it in reverse, and parallel park in. So you've got to practice that 10-second, 7-second window of time. F, I love that. F, are you subscribed? If you are, you need to put yes. So you got to feel confident being able to pull into a spot, get by the curb. You got to feel confident going past the spot, putting it in reverse, turn your wheels all the way to the right and reverse in. Okay, both methods are good. About 3 to 5 cars before that spot. I'm going to talk about some information to help you. We're going to be talking about teens and adults at risk for crashing. We're going to talk about the GDL, the graduated license. We're going to talk about the consequences of violating your GDL, graduated driver's license, in New York, as well as Ohio and Florida. In Ohio and Florida particularly, they have changed the law. If you're 21, you got to go back to driver's ed. You got to take a crash avoidance class. Okay? Don't believe me? You can look it up. We're going to talk about how parents can leverage the GDL, the graduated license. Beginning driver's education. Your teen driver has a level 1 license. Now what? We're going to discuss preparing for segment 2, driver's education. We're also going to be discussing getting ready for your driving test. Some of you have questions. Go ahead and put in your questions. Final stages, gaining full driving privileges, level 3. What is zero tolerance? Authorized activities under level 2. Cell phone restrictions and graduated licensing system. This is going to be a good read. Put your questions in. Number one, at night, driving is very difficult. It's hard for beginners to see. And it's really important that you understand that if it's hard to see, you won't be okay. And we need to all lock in. Next, number two, dealing with passengers. We are all distracted. If your mom is talking, your sister's talking, your dad's talking, you have to lock in on driving. That's your number one responsibility. Next, when unbelted, seatbelts reduce the risk of crash or fatality in a crash. Males passengers have the lowest rate for using seatbelts. So if you're a male watching this live, you have the lowest rate. This means you're probably going to die in an automobile because you don't buckle up. 58% of drivers 15 to 19 and 50% of the passengers are not buckled up. I'm going over information about the test now, so you need to subscribe. You need to be leaving comments in. I'm going through it right now. Next, when using cell phones, you should pull over to the right. Cell phones have the most greatest risk. Okay? Next, GDL, graduated licensing. Most, and I don't know where you're from, you should be from the United States, if not another country, put in the country that you're from. A GDL, that's a graduated license. We have about 15 minutes. Lock in, please. Level 1, learner's license. Teens with a level 1 may only drive with a licensed parent or guardian. Okay. Shall not operate a motor vehicle between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Okay, New York. Okay, so if you're in New York, you have a like a master's license. You have to be 18 to get your full license. F, are you 18? Are you over 18? Okay. You have to drive for a long time, and then you're going to have that junior's license. That was the word. Okay. So you're not over 18, so you're not over 18, so you already know you can't get your full license until you're 18. Great question. But this will help you. If you're going to a party or school function, you need to have authorized. It needs to be an authorized activity. Okay. Next, an event, a religious meeting, you need to have a note, right? Consequences for violating your GDL. You can get a ticket, okay, under the GDL requirement. Depending upon the nature of the violation, you can get your license taken away. You don't want that to happen to you. You don't want your license taken away, okay? No one wants their license taken away. Let's keep going. Next, teens must be 90 days crash-free in order to get on to level 2. So if you get in a ticket or an accident, you're going to be stuck at that level. Next, driving on a learner's activity takes patience. No matter how much intelligence or level-headedness, it takes patience. So you guys are watching this, you're patient. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you get value. F, are you subscribed? A lot of people love this content, but they're not subscribed. Take it to the next level. Subscribe. Okay. Level 2 takes 3 to 5 years. In order to become a master driver, it takes 10 years. Okay. Average drivers, 3 to 5 years. Choosing a driver's education program. It really depends on what you get. Do they have nice cars? Good instructors? Are the instructors young? Are they old? Do they use current technology? Okay. A lot of people like the online class. Some people like in person. Everyone is different. Okay. So we want to commit to learning how to drive. That's really important. We want to commit. We want to make sure everyone's ready to learn. And then we want to do our best. And if you don't do your best, you're not really going to get everything you need to get. That's so important that you lock in and do your best. Keep putting in questions. And if you have a good guardian or a good driving school, they can help you. But driver's education is very expensive, upwards of $45 for half an hour, upwards of $125 for a 2-hour session. It's expensive. So you really got to be prepared for that, and you got to make a commitment. A lot of people under 21 are not ready to make that commitment. It takes time, it takes money, good anywhere from 7 to 10. How do you do a three-point turn properly? It's like pulling in your driveway, reversing back the other way, and then going the opposite way. You have to, I'm using your driveway, okay? I'm using an alleyway. You have to be able to pull in, could be on the left or right. You reverse back the opposite direction, and then you turn the wheels, you go the opposite way. So that's important. You got to be able to do those maneuvers. You really got to be able to take your time and do your best. So I need you all to do your best. Keep putting in questions. This is how you learn. So just like backing into a driveway, okay, you turn your wheel to the left, the rear of the car goes to the left. If you turn your wheel to the right, the rear of the car goes to the right, okay? You got to be able to pull in and reverse the opposite direction, go the other way. So it just takes practice. I like your questions. Also, there's driver's education school for special needs students, okay? Put more questions in. Congratulations, your daughter or son is 14.8, and in some states across the United States, you're able to do driver's education. You're not able to do driver's education. Everyone is a little bit different, and it really takes time, okay? Points to remember, you got to contact your schools. Some schools still teach it. You got to bring in a birth certificate. You got to take a vision screening. It's required, okay? So it's really important that you understand about what is required, okay? Obtain a certified copy of the teen's birth certificate, okay? Let's keep going. Points to remember. Next, you can only drive at a certain time on that level 1. A parent or guardian must give you written permission if you're going to be driving with someone outside of the immediate family. After level 1 is issued to your teen, it might be canceled anytime if you believe your teen is not already ready to drive. So that can be taken away. 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes. The answer is you should take driver's education. If you're in New York, you're going to have to take it if you want to drive. Okay, at one point, you're going to want to drive. Now, I know you say you live in New York, correct? New York is a very densely populated area. You might not need a driver's license, but what if you want to drive to a different state? What if you want to go somewhere, Staten Island, Manhattan, Syracuse, New York, Buffalo, New York? It really depends, right? Depends on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to stay focused on, okay? So I think, yes, you should take driver's ed so you can have a professional teach you. I'm a professional. You're learning right now. Keep putting in your questions. Okay, well, you're going to be 18. Points to remember, your teen is driving on a level 1. It can't be taken away. You have to have a requirement of 50 hours. In New York, that is different. Points to remember, you got to call the Secretary of State if you're not sure. You need to visit the Secretary of State office, the DMV. Driving tests may feel fines vary. Let's say fees vary. Okay, be sure you ask about the cost. Okay. Make sure your vehicle is in good working condition. Be aware that you're allowed to have at least 1 hour of preparing. So you got to be prepared. 1 hour of night driving. In New York is different. Your parent or guardian must sign off. They have to sign off that you have your required hours. If your teen fails to pass the driving skills test, you will receive a test review explaining the reasons for failure. You need to pay particular attention to this. You need to go ahead and lock in. You'll need to obtain information about retesting. Review the driving skills test guide. Continue with supervised driving because you failed to test. A retesting fee may be required because as a professional, they're not going to retest you for free. You got to sign back up. You got to use an hour of my time. This could be $75 for an hour, $125, $150, $175. It varies. F, how much is testing in your area? Do you know? Have you checked? Parent-teen contract. Your parent should be locking in a contract with you. Okay, so you know how you need to drive because that can be taken away. Points to remember. You got to be at least 16 to have a level 2. You got to have parental permission. You have to have obtained a minimum of 50 hours behind the wheel. Bring the following to the Secretary of State: your level 1 license, level 2 certificate of completion, and your birth certificate. F, for you in New York, you got to be 17 and a half or 18. I'm not familiar with the rules in your state. Do you have to wait 6 months before you take your road test? F, I need you to check. I'm not from New York, so I don't want to give you wrong information. Okay? So you need to check your DMV in your area and look at that whatever drivers must know book. Okay? 18 is a requirement in your state. It could be 15 in another state. Another state your parents could teach you. Every state is different. So you have to check. I like the questions. Let's keep going. Parents' authority is canceled on restricted license. I want to say thank you all. Make sure you subscribe. Smash that bell notification. Thank you, guys.